location. I'm lecturing from the textbook of Service Management by James Fitzgerald. Chapter 8 title is Service Facility Location. So as such, the learning objective stated in this chapter is basically as stated here. First, I have to be able to make you understand on explaining the differences between competitive clustering and saturation marketing. And I should be able to explain to you, make you understand the impact of the internet on location making decision for deciding the best location for the business. Next, you have to be able to describe how the GIS system is applied in ensuring service allocation for making a decision. And also differentiate between the two types of distance measurement, which is Euclidean and metropolitan metrics approach. One is in a single plane, one is based on network. Next, should be able to locate in a single facility using, for example, in the beach, where to locate the toilet, and by using the cross-median approach. You should be able also to apply formulation by Huff method, which is Huff retail location model, to estimate the revenue and market share for a potential site such as shopping center. And last but not least, locating the multiple facilities by using the set covering model. Let us begin on the first segment of the lecture. First, I would like to refresh your mind because this chapter is pretty much related to the previous courses that you may have taken, which is Principle of Marketing. I think you still remember the 5 P's of marketing, because marketing is about product, second price, second the third place, the fourth promotion, and the fifth is about people. And when it comes to people, it means traffic. Traffic is for doing business. And in these specific courses for Chapter 8, Service Facility Location, it discusses more on the place, the third item for the 5P of marketing, which is determining the best location for your business. In the subchapter of Service Facility Location Planning, first, users or customers have to consider these 4 big things in deciding for the best location for your service. For example, first a parameter is flexibility. That location must have the flexibility for catering the future economic expansion. And for example, in future, there's going to be a new industrial area in the service facility location of your proposal. Second thing, what is important is the competitive positioning, which is the prime location that you wanted to establish your business. Sometimes is being obstacled by the barrier. For example, that area is assigned for exclusive residential choice, for example, exclusive housing. Third, facility location planning also can be looked from the demand management. What are the other features attributed to the location, which may create demand in future? For example, colleges, schools, stadium, bus station, and so on. So these are called market generators for future. And last but not least, service facility location planning is depending upon the focus. Focus means you have to narrowly define the service, but with many service outlets. For example, you focus on fast food service, but you offer many outlets within the single location. Some other strategic consideration that need to be taken care is, for example, this 6-item competitive clustering. It means that among your competitor, actually you are competing, but that competing or competition is good, because the more, for example, auto dealers in the area, the more customer will be attracted to come to your place or to that area of auto sales. Next is saturating the market, right? So saturation market means that within the same firms or outlet, they can fill up the market area so that they can offer more volume or option for peoples to get the service. The third other strategic consideration are marketing intermediaries. What are some marketing middlemen that will support your business? For example, banks or credit card services, or for example, hospital as a health maintenance organization. That will also make your consideration more strategic. Next, the fourth is substitute communication for travel. Other than traveling to that place, what are other supporting facilities that will facilitate in giving the service in that area? For example, internet access, telecommunication, e-commerce ability, and so on. Then separation of front from back office. For example, in the banking system, separation between front and back office system is quite obvious, because automated teller machine is considered front service, whereas the officer who are working on the counter, they are considered back office, and they do the administration of the bank too. And last but not least, other strategic consideration is the impact of the internet on service location. Nowadays, many businesses depends upon the internet service as their main strategic forces of their sales. For example, Amazon, they don't directly sell a book from any particular outlet, but they offer it very good service, fast and efficient in the internet platform, in which people easily can locate the book and buy the book, and can get the book within, for example, 10 or 12 days from the point of order. So those are considered some other 6 strategic consideration in locating your best place for your business. Let's discuss on the strategic location consideration, for example, between front office and back office. First, if the external customer is your consumer, so you have external customer, for example, who is traveling out to customer, or customer travel to the site, whether your customer go to the site or you go to the customer. So that is on the front office and external customer situation. So can electronic media substitute for physical travel? So for example, in filling out forms, instead of a customer come to the office outlet and filling out the form, so can you make it available over the portal that filling up the form can be done online? The next quadrant between front office and internal customer, which is employee, right? So among other things which is important is it labor available, right? Can you get good and many workers that is needed for your service? Self-service kiosk or an alternative, can you give just I would say a representative kiosk in representing your service? That is between front office and internal customer, which is based on your employee. From the perspective of back office and internal customer, is the service performed on person or on property? Are you directly giving the service to customer, or is it giving service as far as like property rental? Back office and internal customer employee, which is the last quadrant, among other things that got to consider are economies of scale possible. Can you scale up the outlet, or can you scale up the services? Can you offer many more outlets for that particular services? And in the back office, can employees work from home? Like for the back office employee, is it possible if they could get the job done from their home? So these are the 4 quadrants of between front office and back office, considering between external customer, which is consumer, and also internal customer, which is your own staff or your own employee. Some of the consideration in selecting good places or location for your service is in the form of accessibility. 1, is it convenient to get into your outlet or your shop? For example, is it conveniently located near the exit of a highway? Second, business got to be visible. So is your signage of the business is visible from the street, or is the advertisement or notice or placard or signboard is visible for your business? Third, consideration for site selection is traffic. Is traffic volume on the street that may indicate potential impulse buying is available? For example, certain customer, they are not intending to buy, but when they notice your notice board and your offered product or services, they impromptu decide to buy the product or service due to the traffic flow that highlighting your business. The fourth site selection consideration is parking. Of course, most customers are basically driving physically to the site, so parking is an obsolete option that must be available for service. On the fifth consideration is on expansion, which is room for expansion. It means that are there available spaces for future expansion for your service. For example, you want to enlarge your outlet to become double the size of the current situation of the current size. Is it available some empty space, or is it available to go to second floor or the third floor? That is another good consideration for expansion of your outlet. The sixth, which is the ambience or the surrounding and the environment of your outlet. It should complement the service. For example, if your outlet is basically serving food or fast food, or just a food outlet, and the complementing service basically is drink. So it should be closely located with the drink outlet. The seventh, basically some other consideration, competition. Competition in one way is good, which is prompting for the healthy of your business, but competition is basically one of the factor for your business to thrive forward. And the eighth is the government. Is it available for zoning restriction, for example, city limit, urban limit, or housing limit? And the government also coming up with regulation and also rules for taxes. So next is labor. Labor must be available with the needed skill, talented people that could serve your business. And the last one is the complement services nearby. For example, if your business is selling car or used car, there should be a complementing service nearby. For example, servicing workshop or repairing workshop that is nearby to your auto sales showroom. Now, in considering the geographical location representation of distance, normally it is In mathematics, it is normally represented by this theorem Pythagoras formulation, which is d squared equal to x distance squared plus y distance squared. So, for example, if you want to know the distance from, for example, this origin I to destination J, so you merely need on the plane perspective, for example, on paper, technically you have to take this distance between xi and xj and square it plus this distance from y1 to yj, square it, and then you need to square root to get the this length or this distance, right? Basically, this is on paper, in which if you want to travel from origin I to destination J, basically you need to travel this way and to this way, and this is what we call by theorem Pythagoras Euclidean, right? However, this is on paper, in which from here to here you can calculate the distance you have to travel here to here, but in the real location or destination setting, basically if you want to go from this point to this point, you can go straight, right? So this is what they call metropolitan, right? Basically, dy equal to absolute of xi minus xj, which is absolute, plus y1 minus yj absolute. Basically, you take this distance, absolute of it, which is non-negative, and then you plus this distance, right? And then you could basically from going to this destination to this destination by using this road and then go to forward. In the Euclidean approach, you basically need to travel from here to here. But in the metropolitan perspective, you cannot travel straight from here to here, because on the actual location, there might be a lake here, or there is a big building here, or there are some other obstacle here, so that from going to origin 1 to destination J, you need to go from here to here, just like the situation on the road, in which you have to travel the parallel road and also the vertical road. So this is the geographical representation difference between Euclidean, in which you just need to take this distance, whereas in the metropolitan you need to take both, which is here the x and also the y, to go from origin I to destination J. This is the effect of optimization criteria discussed in the textbook. Basically, the effect of optimization is, in the book it is explaining about a health center which is located at the center here of the city area. So this is the center. So this health center, for example, gymnasium, swimming pool, and some other athletical activity can be done basically from this perspective. What are the most optimizing criteria considered for a service location to be chosen? In the book, it is highlighted that there are 3 criteria. Basically, the first criteria is the service center utilization. Second is the service center distance within the population. And the third is the distance, the short distance per visit, so that frequent visit can be made for the service center. In the textbook, it is explained that this survey optimization criteria has been executed by Abernathy and Hershey. They studied the location of health center within 3 cities region. Imagine this coordinate is the location of the region, And at this region, there are 3 health centers: Health Center A, Health Center B, Health Center C, at respective location. And this is the central of the region, which is the coordinate 0, 0. This is the center of the region. And at city A, the health center is located at coordinate -10 and 10. At location health center B, the health center is located, it's somewhere here 1, 1. At city C, the health center is located somewhere at perhaps 21 and -5. So these are the, I would say, coordinate location of the health center within this region at 3 different cities. Based on the study, it has been derived that at city C, many people using health center at city C over here is due to the constraint on the traveling, because most of the residents at city C are elderly or old people. So for them to travel long distance to go health center is quite a challenge. So they decide to use health center at center C. And this is at city C is considered there is a distance barrier, so that the elderly mainly go in at health center at city at that city. For city B, since it is centrally located in the region, which is somewhere here near the center, so the distance to travel by the population is rather short. So many people go to this city B due to it is a central location. However, for city C, there are many more users going to health center at city A, and the large circle represent the larger number of visitors going to city A. City A represent optimization for criteria shortest visit distance. Since it is minimizing the distance for every visit, so many more users go to health center A at this city. So optimization criteria depends on utilization, the distance to be traveled by the population or by the whole people, and whether the distance to travel for each visit is short as represented by A. These are the 3 optimization criteria in order to have a service center to be used by its users. In the next segment, I'm discussing about single facility location using cross-median approach, and it is discussed in the textbook at page 227. And this figure is basically figure 8.6. In this discussion, actually you are about to locate a photocopying service center to serve your customer in that city. For example, these are your existing customer 1 with 700 orders. This is their magnitude for office 1 for customer 1. For customer 2 at office 2 with as much as 100 orders, and at customer 3 with 300 orders, and at customer 4, sorry, this is office 4, or customer 4 with 500 orders. So these are their location. For customer 4, their coordinate location within the city is actually at position 4.1. At customer 3, their location is basically at 3.5. And for customer 2, their location is at 2.3. And for the first customer or company 1, their location is actually 1.2 based on XY coordinate. So the situation is you have 4 customers to be served, and where to best locate your single facility to serve all these for customer. So we have to come up with the calculation or formulation how to calculate the best area or location to put your service center. Well, in the next slide, it is highlighted that based on the calculation median calculation for XS and also YS as shown in table 8.3 and 8.4, it is determined that the best location to locate your service center to serve all for customers is actually somewhere here at the coordinate of y-axis at 2 point something, and at x position from 2 to 4. So these are the best area to serve all for customers based on the magnitude that they have. Okay, if you look at this position, basically it's quite short in to go to company 2, and it is quite short also to go to company 1, and it is just slightly farther to go to company 4, and it is just slightly farther to go to company 3. And the decision and calculation at table 8.2 and 8.4 is determined also by the how much order, how big volume the business this company can give to your photocopying service center at this location. As far as your outlet is located at this coordinate and along the line or road and ending at this coordinate, that is the best location for your single facility service serving 4 customers in this shown figure. Another approach of locating your best service location is proposed by Huff model. Huff proposes 4 models in order to determine where is the best location to put your service center. For example, supermarket or shopping center. First, and the objective of the Huff retail location model is to maximize your profit. The first rule is it should follow a gravity of comparison used to estimate attractiveness of store J for customer in area I. So the formula, the attractiveness of your new supermarket is basically determined by A, which is attraction to store J for customer in area I, the size of your store, for example, measured by how big is the size in square feet, and how much time travel from within the area A to go to store J, and lambda, which shows the measurement of how difficult or how easy it is in area A to travel to store J. And the formulation goes as A equal to attractiveness can be measured by S, which is the size of the store, how big is the size, and divided by T, time travel by people to go to your store, which is store J, and to the power of lambda. And this is the calculation of how attractive is your new supermarket for people to go to your new center. The second rule of Huff retail location model is basically to consider also your competitor. Previously, they have proposed only to consider your own new supermarket, which is how attractive it is. The second model is to calculate or to consider also the available competitor around your new supermarket J. For example, for the second rule, it states that to account for competitors, we calculate the probability that customers from area I to visit your proposed new store J. And this probability is calculated by P equal to A. A is basically the previous formula which is calculated here. And divided by the summation of attractiveness of other competitor around your store, n equal to competing number of store. Perhaps around your newly proposed supercenter, there are 4 also supermarket or equal center which is quite comparable to your supermarket. So divided by summation of attractiveness of your store until which is summation up to your how many competitors that you have. Then you have the probability of the attractiveness or the probability of customer to go to your store J. The third rule or formula for Huff retail location model is to consider how much annual customer expenditure, how much customer will spend for item K in your store J. Here is the calculation, which is P stands for the probability of customer in the area I to travel to store J, which is this P is derived from the previous probability formula, which is here, and multiply it by C. C is number of customer in area I. For example, maybe you can derive from the population census. For example, that city has 10,000 or 20,000 population, and multiply by B, which is budget for product K for customer in the area I. This also depends on the income of customer in area I. And M here is the number of customer areas in the market. So this is the summation of probability multiplied by number of customer multiplied by budget. So here we can estimate the expenditure or the sales people are willing to buy of item K at your new store J. Last but not least, Huff retail location model also proposed the fourth rules, which is how big is the market share for product K can be purchased at store J. Here is the calculation. M equal to E divided by the summation of number of customer multiplied by budget. So how big is the share you could control is depend on by E, which is as previous formula, which is expenditure, divided by the summation of number, how big is number of customer in the area, multiplied by the budget, and the sum of all from I, your store, and M is up to the number of the markets. And a typical example of this situation is, for example, like DIY outlet. The DIY outlet normally at big cities, they have several outlets. Perhaps one in shopping center, one in the business district, one is at the urban area. And normally in this situation, market share will be controlled by DIY because they saturate the market, because there are 3 outlets in order to handle the whole market. The fourth Huff retail location model basically states that how big is your market share is basically depend upon the expenditure willingness of a customer to buy for product K at store J divided by the summation of customer in that area and multiplied by the budget. And this the summation is from I, which is you yourself, and M to the next store available. A typical of this situation is how big is market share is that, for example, like in one big city, DIY outlets normally got several shops. For example, one at shopping center, one at the business district, and the other one is in the urban area. So due to this big market share, normally DIY will have a very strong competition with the other smaller hardware stores, and smaller hardware stores normally have a very stiff competition in this situation, and normally they are out of business. And this formulation explained by the Huff retail location model number 4 to explain how big is the market. Last but not least, in the textbook of the chapter, it is highlighting one segment about regression analysis in deciding for best location, as explained in page 232. Regression model basically consider few parameters or few factors. For example, in the textbook, it is highlighted the management of La Quinta Motor Inns. In the United States, they call it it is a motel, it is located near the highways of American road. However, it's quite difficult to explain for La Quinta Motor Inns in the US. So I bring the discussion towards more localized context, for example, hotel selection. For a regression model to locate best place for your hotel is actually in Malaysia setting. For example, in many big cities in Malaysia, there are hotel selection outlet. For example, in Johor Bahru, Pasir Gudang. So in order to best determine which location to set up a new hotel selection, there are 5 parameters that hotel selection must consider to locate their next best location. One is the competitive factor. Second is the other surrounding demand generator. The third are the demographic area itself. The fourth is market awareness, and the last one is the physical attributes. Say, for example, hotel selector is planning to locate its new or latest hotel in the new location. So hotel selector has to consider these 5 factors in order to calculate what is the best operating margin if they locate the new outlet at that particular city or at that particular town. Y here is equal to operating margin. And based on the survey, actually one of the best parameter to consider is actually where is the state the location of the outlet will be set up, and what is the best what is the price which is set by the management of the selection, and what are the income surrounding that area or the population of the new location that hotel selection want to set up, and are there any demanding generators, for example university and college at surrounding at that new hotel proposed location. For example, hotel selection must consider its competitive factor. For example, what is the rental room rate that they set up? Are they among the best based on the value that is being offered? And are there also other hotels within about 1 mile surrounding the new location of the hotel selection? For example, about 1.6 kilometer surrounding or around the new location. And whether hotels later offer competitive room rates in comparison to their next best competitor. Hotels later also has to consider whether there are other demand generator for hotels. For example, staying overnight, or for business traveler. For example, are there college, hospitals, or any tourist extraction nearby the new place that hotel selection want to set up. Hotel selection also must do the survey of the population in terms of demographic. For example, total family income, and is it at the residential population, or are there many housing residents, housing places around the new city. Hotel selection also must consider market awareness. how popular is Hotel Selesa among the population, and whether the distance of the hotel quite close to the potential customer. And last but not least, the physical attributes of Hotel Selesa, for example, signage, advertisement. It is visible for people from downtown to see the signage for Hotel Selesa, and whether the road and accessibility to the location is easy. And as such, on the overall, we can calculate the operating margin, such as stated in this formula. So from there, the operating margin can be determined so that Hotel Selesa can make decision with a proper calculation, with a proper survey, with a proper reporting. That way, the decision can be made for the best location to locate Hotel Selesa. Okay, the rest of the chapter is basically consisting of the case study, right? For example, Health Maintenance Organization, HMO. So these are part of the highlighted, like Athol Furniture. These are some of the case study presented, and also store site selection, market share analysis is for your self-study. So as such, I'm concluding my FOC full online class for this chapter 8, service facility location. I would like to thank you all for your studies and following my lecture in video tube, in the YouTube. Thank you.